It should be on all three places.
Okay, let me check. You are live.
Okay, Edgar, I can't see you.
Edgar?
Right
And
here.
there it is. Okay, we are at about 2 minutes to 4.
And then, oh, now I can see myself on Facebook.
Okay, you're live, Facebook.
Okay,
And
I'm going to turn the phone off.
Okay.
All right. I'll be back in a moment.
Let me see if I can post the PowerPoint. I try to post, let me see. I put share and it took me out of Hatikva page. Hopefully I didn't cause problems. It seems like it went out of live on Facebook.
Let me double check.
Because the moment I put share the PowerPoint, the page went out.
No, we're live.
Are we?
Okay.
Oh, now I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, all three platforms are live.
Now, what you'll see on the platforms, we're going to be quite a bit ahead of that. You won't be able to see what they're seeing.
Okay.
Okay. Y'all ready?
Ready.
All right. Shalom, everyone. We have a very, very exciting event right now. The Edgar Ramos has just returned about a week from Israel and went to perform, put together a documentary on what's actually occurring on the rebuilding of the temple. And Edgar, first off, let me say welcome back publicly. Okay, you and I have talked many times. In fact, we talked daily while you were in Israel. But
yes,
tell us about how did the documentary get started?
Well, all this became like an idea when, you know, how we are with you in this study group that we get together every Thursday afternoon, and constantly we are researching about scripture, about anything related to the temple, like the book of Chronicles and the book of Kings, and then we search into the Mishnah and the Tosefta and other writings, Flavius Josephus and all that. So every Thursday we're going into this study, searching for clues, searching for information, and making models and studying the topography of Jerusalem and the Temple Mount. And we are constantly going over things. So back like in March, I think, and the previous year we went to search for some information in a trip. So we came back and resist what we study and we looked over there. And then I got to think on many other things. And our group started searching into other details that we found about the location of the altar and the corner buildings and all those things. So about meditating all these things, I went online and then I found this video that somebody was making the stones for the temple. And so I got in touch with the gentleman that was working, or that is working on those stones. And I asked him if I was able to go to Israel again, I could meet with him and see the stones. And he said, yeah, let me know when you're planning on doing that. So I got to think on that information. And one night I was just sitting here at my desk, and my daughter Anna was doing her homework on the table at the dining room. And I look into her and I say, "Hey, Anna, what will it take to make a documentary?" And she looked at me and she said, "Dad, it will take a lot of money and a lot of time, especially if you have to travel." And I say, "All right, I was just wondering." And so I went online and I started looking on Facebook, on YouTube, how to make a documentary. And I got all this information from different channels on YouTube. And I started thinking on the possibility of getting information about the Holy Temple. So then this gentleman, his name is Sev, he gave me the number for another friend of his. He said, "Edgar, maybe you should consider also interviewing my friend Benayahu. He is building the doors for the temple." And I said, "Oh, I didn't know that somebody was working on doors for the temple." He said, yeah. And he even asked me, "Maybe you should consider interviewing Moshe Felgin." And he's one of Israel politicians involved with the building of the temple. And I said, "Well, if you can help me with Benayahu's information, maybe I can ask him." And he said, yeah, for sure. So he sent me Benayahu's WhatsApp, and I asked him if I could come over to Israel. And he's asking me all these questions. Who are you? And why are you reaching out to me? And what is the purpose? And who is behind you? Who is financing this idea? And so I started answering his questions. And so I was just thinking in all these things. And I started in YouTube, they say that when you want to make a film, or in this case, a documentary, you got to write what is called film treatment. And it's basically the general idea of the project. And this is the document that you will send the people you want to interview, you want to talk to. So I started writing that idea, the film treatment in the computer, and send it to the Stones guy and then to Benayahu. And then we already knew Eliezer Seidel, who is the founder of the Lechem Hapanim Institute, the bakery. So I sent them the film treatment, and he said, yeah, for sure, come on over. So I started sending this email to different individuals that I knew, and other contacts that you provided me about information with the rabbis that you normally speak to. So I was just testing the grounds to see if something like that was possible, but I didn't have the money or anything with me to do it. And then during those days, one of the friends at the congregation, he's a very humble man, a very good person, and his name is Mario. And he said, "Edgar, I need to talk to you." And I say, "What's going on?" And he said, "Well, sit down." And I said, "All right." He said, "I heard that you are planning on doing this project, and I don't know if you're gonna do it or not, but maybe I can help you a little bit." And I say, "What you got?" He said, "Well, I went I was going to work and I stopped to put gas on my truck. And normally, oftentimes I buy like a scratch ticket. And this time I'm like, I'm just gonna get another lottery scratch ticket. He said, so I got it and I start scratching it. When I put it into the machine, it was making weird noises. And so he said, I went with the attendant and I say, hey, this thing is making weird noises. I don't know what happened. He said, why don't you go to the main offices and they will tell you. So he went to the lottery place in Austin and the guy told him, oh, you hit it some good price. And so he said, so I got some money. It's not a lot, but I want to help you in your project. And I said, no, you keep your money. That's yours. And it was sent your way. So it's better for you to keep it. He said, no. When I scratched it, I was thinking of you. And it was like me telling the Lord that if I get something, I will help you. So if I got it, it's because I need to give you this money. So he gave me $10,000. And I say, what you want me to do with this money? He said, you can put it on the congregation. You can use it for your project. You can do whatever. And I said, are you sure? He said, yeah. So I went to I put some into the congregation and then I went to the camera store. And so I approached the front desk and I told this guy, he said, what can I help you with? I said, well, to begin with, I'm a carpenter. I don't know nothing about cameras or lenses or anything. I say, but I want to develop this documentary and I need a good camera to get it started with. And he said, what is your budget? And I said, well, not much, maybe 5,000. And he said, I don't think it will be enough, but let me see what I can help you with. So he got this Panasonic camera. He said, listen, this is the cheapest camera that you can get for recording in 4K. And so the price is like almost 2,000 plus the lenses is gonna be another 500 or 600. And I'm like, hey, you're getting over my budget. He said, well, this is just the beginning. You're still gonna need microphones, lights, tripod, and memories. And I'm like, I didn't know this thing was so expensive. So he said, well, just get the camera with the battery and a memory and just start practicing. And I said, all right. So I got the camera with the lens and I didn't want to spend all that money on equipment because I still needed it, like tickets, plane tickets, hotel rooms. And so I got the camera and then I called my niece in Mexico. She studied filmmaking and she's been doing it for like 10 years. Her name is Alina. And I say, Alina, I need to talk to you. And she say, oh, what's going on? I say, well, I'm trying to develop this documentary and obviously I don't know nothing about filmmaking, but you are the one that can help me. How much would you charge me if you come to Israel with me and film these interviews? And she say, Uncle, I don't think I can charge you, but I'm willing to go with you if you pay for my expenses. And I say, well, that's fair enough. And I can also get some donations to help you with your work. So we're supposed to be going in June when the war, Israel attacked Iran and our flights got canceled. And so she was traveling to Austin when that happened. And so when she got here, she's like, you heard the news? I said, yeah. She said, are we going? I say, no, our flights got canceled. So we have to wait for another time. So she went to Argentina and made a movie that she's working on in her own project. And when she got back, I told my daughter, Jessica, ask Alina if she's ready for us to look for the tickets, for the plane tickets. And Alina is like, I just got back from there and I don't think my employer is going to give me a chance so soon. And Jessica is like, well, you still have like a month if you guys want to go in November. And she said, give me a week. I need to talk to my employer. So about a week passed and I told Jessica, my daughter, I said, Jessica, did you talk to Alina? Because if we don't do it now, we're going to have to wait until after the winter. And she said, let me ask her again. So Alina is like, yeah, I got the permit and it's going to be the time of my vacation. So I can use my 2 weeks to go help you. And so Jessica got the plane tickets, and suddenly I saw myself on the airport with my wife and with Alina, and I already had appointments with some of the rabbis, and everything started developing really fast. And um, I was just sending emails and WhatsApps and just testing to see who wanted it to be um, willing to help us. And I was just amazed that every email and every WhatsApp that I sent, people were answering positively. They were saying, "Yeah, yeah, for sure, come on over and we'll work it out." So that's what we did, and we were in the airport in Los Angeles. We're gonna take the plane from El Al from Los Angeles to Tel Aviv, and then I called Joe, and I said, "Joe, we're waiting in our gate for the plane to Tel Aviv, and I'm getting a little nervous about this thing. I don't know why am I doing this? This thing is gonna work out or not, and I don't know." And Joe's like, "Listen, you're already on it, so you cannot back out, and you got the money by the hand of God. This is happening, and you got the approvals on the interview, so now you have to get over there." And I say, "Yeah, I know that, but
Let me ask you some questions if I can.
sure."
How many interviews in total did you get?
At the first, when we were gonna go, we had like probably 7 or 8.
Uh-huh.
And for me, since it was people very important in relation to the temple, I'm like, if I can do one a day, that should be good, and maybe I can get more once we're there. But since the first attempt didn't work, and then we waited until November, so I was able to get more contacts. And so when I was putting the PowerPoint together, it was so many of the interviews that I lose count of them. But when I made my list, we're gonna see it on the PowerPoint. It's 15 people that we interviewed total.
That's amazing to me. And if you know anything about the temple, you know that there is a stairway that goes up from the court of the women to the Azara, the inner courtyard. There are 15 steps. And I'm one that believes that projects like this, first off, God's the one that opens the doors. And I think it's obvious. God opened the doors here. And God brought the people that are directly involved. And this is, everything's coming together by the hand of God. That's the big thing. But your objective in doing this video, this documentary, what was your objective? What did you want to accomplish with the documentary?
Well, when I noticed that Seth, he's the one that is building the stones, and we already knew the bakery for the Lechem Hapanim, and then I reached out to Benayahu, the one that's building the doors. I asked him about what size of cubit they were using on the projects, and they told me the measurement. It's what we call the 5 tefachim, and
5 handbreadths.
500 tefachim. And then in our study with you every week, one thing is certain, that anything related to the temple is very complicated. That's why it takes so deep research and time and effort. And so I'm reaching out to these people, and they're having their own challenges, like getting the formula for the Lechem Hapanim, getting the right material for the stones, and getting the right wood from cedar from Lebanon, and the measurement, and all those details. And I'm thinking, all these people are investing their time and their life into this research, and it's not an easy thing to do, and the world doesn't know about it. I mean, we've been studying with you for many years, and I didn't know that somebody was building the stones or somebody else was building doors, and we ourselves are researching in other topics of the temple. So I'm like, there is a lot of things going on that we don't know, and it may be a good idea to put it together so people can relate to the difficulty of the research and the reality of the things are coming together. So that what motivated me to do all this.
All right. All right. Well, show us
So
some of the interviews.
let me share a PowerPoint that I put together. From the beginning, I got it.
There you go. Yeah.
So this is a picture that I really liked. It was taken by Macarena Alcina, that she joined it to our small team. It was just me and my wife, Adriana, and my niece, Alina, originally that went to start this project. And then Macarena called us and she said, "It will be all right if I join you guys?" And we were like, "Yeah, for sure, come on over." So she came and joined, and she took this picture one of the days that we were there, and I really enjoyed the facade of the Holy Temple with the hotel on the background. And so I got this picture when we were in the Mount of Olives, and who is involved in the building of the Holy Temple. And this is the Bisma Films, that the name of this company that we're using for this project. So when I was on the airport, this thing really hit me, overcoming nervousness and developing the idea. And everything about the building of the temple is very complicated. It involves deep research, like measurements, appearances, purposes, usage, place, dimensions, the colors, the people. I mean, for saying that the Jewish people are just coming with this just because they want to bother the world or something like that, it doesn't make sense. It's people that they're devoting their lives to the study of the Holy Temple, and it's so complicated that whoever is involved in this doesn't even have time to put attention to other ideas, but because it takes a lot of the time and the effort to get involved into this research. So this moved me to think that what is the power of understanding the importance of the Temple Mount, the importance of the Holy City in Jerusalem, and the importance of accomplishing the commandments. In the scriptures, we have the commandment. Let me just tell you, one time, Rabbi Richman from the Temple Institute, at that time, he was still with the Temple Institute many years ago. He visited Austin, Texas. And so a couple of friends from our study group wanted to come with me to listen to his presentation. He had some of the garments of the Kohen Gadol, the Me'il, and other utensils on his presentation. So we went and listened to what he was presenting. And at the end of the presentation, one of the friends asked me, "Can you please ask the rabbi something, because I don't speak English?" And I said, "Sure." So the question was, why would the Jewish people want to build a temple when the book of Ezekiel says that the Messiah will build the temple, or the temple is going to be built on the Messianic age? So I went to the rabbi and I said, "Rabbi, somebody is asking this question. Why would you want to build a temple when the Messianic age, the temple is going to be there, probably built by the Messiah?" And he looked at me and he said, "First of all, every understanding, all wisdom comes from heaven. So I pray to the Lord that I can answer your question from above, with wisdom from above." And he looked at me and he said, "Tell your friend that we have a commandment to sanctify and observe the Shabbat, like many other of the 613 commandments." He said, "And one of those positive commandments is to build the temple. And so we have the obligation according to the Torah to build the Holy Temple. If we haven't built it, it's because we don't have full possession of the Temple Mount right now, but we are ready to build it as soon as we take possession of the mountain. He says, so we're just praying and waiting, and we have to do it because it's within the positive commandments of the Holy Torah. And myself, I never thought of that, or I never heard a statement like that. And I'm like, it makes sense. I mean, if we're willing to do the Shabbat every week, and we're not willing to do what the Torah requires for us to build a temple, or the Jewish people to build a temple, and then it doesn't make sense. It's part of the package. So I gave my friend the answer, and since then it's been a deep answer that I learned from Rabbi Richman at that time. So it's a deep understanding of the place and the commandment. So here I have a list of the 15 people that we interview. The first person that we interview is Dr. Scott Stripling. He is the director of the excavation on Shiloh. And number 2 is Eliezer Seidel. He is the founder of the Institute of the Lechem Hapanim. Number 3, Zev Leibler. He is the one in charge of building the stones for the Holy Temple. And number 4, Benayahu Tzadik. He is building the doors for the temple. Professor Sohar Amar for Bar-Ilan University. He found the different ingredients for the Ketoret. And number 6, Rabbi Mardochai Persov. He is the director of the Mikdash Educational Center of Jerusalem. And number 7, Moshe Asayag. He built this model that we have in the picture. And I wanted to interview him because he's a very impressive model, and his knowledge of the Mishnah tractate Midot and Tamid is very impressive. Number 8, we have one of the most outstanding interviews, at least for me. It was one when we interviewed Rabbi Baruch Kahana. He is the senior Kohen of the Temple Institute, and he's also instructor of the Kohanim. Number 9, Rabbi Azariah Ariel. He is the leading rabbi of the Temple Institute, and he's also the leading authority on the halakha regarding the red heifer. And number 10, Rabbi Yash Wonder. He is one of the spokesmen for the Sanhedrin. And number 11, Dr. Karl Skorecki. He's the leading researcher on the DNA of the Kohanim, not only of the Kohanim, of the Jewish communities throughout the history. Number 12, Yair Levi. He is a singer and musician. He's been requested to be on different films. He was with Doron Kedar in The Mountain of the Lord, and he's in different movies and different documentaries. So I asked him if he will help us, and he said, yeah, let's do it. So I interviewed him about the music on the temple, Levitical choir on the temple. And we also had Rabbi Eliyahu Berkowitz. He's the leading writer for the Israel 365 newspaper, and also the author of the book of The Return of the Red Heifer. And number 14, Rabbi Yehuda Glick. He is very active on regards of the Holy Temple, and also very knowledgeable on the Temple Mount. And number 15, we don't see it on the bottom, but it's a lady. Her name is Avital Farhang. I asked her if she could help us with some dance to add to the documentary some pleasant sights besides the beauty of the city of Jerusalem. And she agreed to help us. So when I was putting all this together, I'm like, 15 people total.
Yeah,
So
very amazing.
So our first interview was with Dr. Scott Stripling. I wanted to interview him regarding his excavation in Shiloh. He found the structure is like a rectangular structure from 3 to 1, just like the Bible describes the measurements for the Asara, or for the Mishkan on the desert. And he found, amongst different things, three corners, horns of the altar, stones with the horn. He's looking for the fourth one. He also found a very special flooring, just like they found for the Temple Mount, very how you call it, geometrical shapes. They also found that last year in Shiloh, in the excavation, and they found gold and all kinds of things. So it's very exciting what he has been finding over there. And so
Edgar, can I ask a question?
yes,
Now, you mentioned about these tiles that were found. Now, the tiles that they found, not only in Jerusalem, but they found them at Banyas and numbers of places, at Herodian and so forth. But they are from the 1st century Common Era, and they're called Opus Sectili. Okay, are the tiles that they found at Shiloh, are they calling them Opus Sectili, and do they date from the 1st century, or is it an earlier floor from the time of the Mishkan?
when he told me about it, I opened my eyes. I'm like, Dr. Stripling, that's just like the ones they found on the temple. He said, yeah, but we didn't know that we were gonna find this like 5 meters below the surface on Shiloh. He said, we were shocked that we found it. And I'm like, do you think that the flooring of the temple was based on what they already had on the Mishkan on Shiloh? He said, we're looking into it right now, but we just found it. He said, so it's very early to say anything about it.
Yeah, they've got to analyze and see what else goes with it. Yeah, certainly.
Yes. So that was very, very interesting what he mentioned about what they just found last year. And they also found this, what they call favisa. It's a deposit of bones from the offerings on the altar, mostly the right leg of goats and sheep, and is what the Kohanim will be eating themselves. And the bones, since they have a degree of holiness, they cannot be thrown away. They were put into this favisa. And so very interesting things that they've been finding there. And I wanted to interview him regarding the alignment of this structure they found. And he told me is right from east to west, from the sunrise to the sunset. And that was very important for me, because what we've been researching about the alignment of the Holy Temple on the Temple Mount is exactly what the Book of Kings tells us, that King Shlomo, he inaugurated the temple on the time of Sukkot, and that's when the sun rises in the east. So he confirmed to me that the Mishkan work under the same pattern. It's the same blueprint. So Dr. Stripling, he is the director of excavations for the Associates for Biblical Research at Kirbet El Makatir and on Shiloh in Israel. Dr. Stripling is also a very sought-after speaker at churches, conferences, and seminars. And here is one little clip of what we asked him some questions.
Can you get the sound?
Let me see if I can get a better sound.
There you go. Yeah.
We can assume that over time that it's having to be replaced, that the curtains are wearing out, and so forth. Eventually, it seems that they build a permanent structure, and we know this from the biblical text itself in 1 Samuel chapter 3. In English, you can pick up on it, but in Hebrew, it's very clear, because they're using temporary language like the curtains of the tabernacle, and then we start reading about the walls of the tabernacle or the door of the tabernacle. And that Hebrew. So very much the language is shifting. And so the biblical commentaries have touched on this past and said maybe there was a permanent building built there because you have the ship. It's even called the Temple of Florida for Single 3 rather than.
So I'm gonna stop there because we have to go through all these people, but that's some of the answers he was giving us in the interview. And our second interview, it's with Eliezer Seidel. He's the founder of the Institute for the Bread of the Presence, the Lechem Hapanim. And in this picture, he allowed us to take a picture of this table with all the breads that he's been baking for the Holy Temple. So we asked him if we could come and film him and have on the film the way he makes the Lechem Hapanim. And he said, yes, come on over and we'll do it. So we went over his incarnation Rome from Jerusalem to the northwest. It's like probably 40 minutes or 1 hour driving. So we went over there and got to his bakery. And let me just introduce him. The Showbread Institute was established in 2018 by Eliezer Meir Seidel, a master baker by profession. Following years of research into the meal offerings of the temple, particularly the showbread, the Lechem Hapanim, when he began teaching others about the showbread through lectures and workshops, he decided to establish an official institute to serve as an umbrella organization for research, publication, and educational activities in Karnei Shomron in Israel. So he's holding the breads that are used in Shavuot. It's called the Shtei HaLechem, the 2 pieces of bread. They're very big, and he's got these breads on his hand. And I think only the Shtei HaLechem and what other bread they have yeast, Joe?
Yeah, the Todah, the thank offering.
The Todah offering and the Shtei HaLechem.
They have hametz, leaven in them.
Yeah, and all of the other breads, they don't have hametz.
Right, and these 2 breads, because they have leaven, are never allowed to approach the altar.
Right. So let me play this clip.
It's 2 different categories of fermentation. One is acceptable and the other one is not acceptable. So you have to understand how the halachic aspect of how this process works in order to understand why it is acceptable and why it's not acceptable.
Is it halachic to be
Yeah, I was asking him, he said, how about it before we do the interview, we prepare the dough, so because it takes like 40 minutes to bake. And in the left picture, I'm holding, once was baked, the Lechem Hapanim, one of those pieces, and it was very heavy. He's like, I'm surprised how you're holding that for all this time. But when I asked him about how he was able, with the amount of flour that the scriptures prescribe, the making of the Lechem Hapanim, he said that for years they were looking for the formula, many people through different years, and they were never able to raise it to 1 tefachim, which is like 8 centimeters. But you don't supposed to
let over 3 inches.
Over 3 inches. And so I asked him, how you were able to do it? He said, well, we tried many ways for many years until we finally, based on what the halacha prescribes, that you don't supposed to let the flour rise by developing the yeast. He said, in the halacha, we learn that once a piece of bread is baked, it can no longer become hametz. he said, so we grind some matzah, and once we grind it, we put some water on it, and we made a special mixture with other ingredients that I cannot tell you, he said. But when we make this special mixture and mix it with the flour, and we were able to raise it to the 8 centimeter, or to the one tefahim. And so that was very impressive. And I'm saying, so that's very interesting that you were able to get it to rise to the right height and with the right shape. He said, Edgar, we're not done yet. Right now, we're trying to make this piece of bread to stay fresh for 10 days. Right now, it stays fresh for like 4 or 5 days, but we got to find the right combination to make it last for like 10 days. So for years, they've been working on it, and they're still working in all this research. So it was very, very impressive.
When you get finished with all the editing work and you put together the documentary, each one of these, you're giving us a little slice, a little preview, a little picture of the total interview, but the total interview will go into much more detail, many more things that they're explaining, like on the various breads, the lechem hapanim or Shiloh, or, exactly what everything is.
Yeah, right. In this presentation, we're only sharing like little videos that we took with the cell phones and pictures that we did with the cell phones. But the main interview is on the memories that we use for the cameras. And it was very, very, we didn't expect, but after the first week, like a week and a half, we already filled the memories for the cards. And my niece is like, Edgar, I don't know what you want to do, but we ran out of a space in the main memory. So I don't know what to do. And I say, well, did you get everything we have from the cameras into the main storage? And she said, yeah. I said, well, let's clear some of the storage of the memories on the cameras, and we'll take what we already have on the big storage and whatever we do the rest of the days. And so it's a lot of information. We have 15 interviews. Each interview is at least 1 hour, and one of them, it lasts like 3 hours. So it's a lot of information. In this picture, we have most of the breads that we had on the first pictures, but it's just a sample of some of the many breads that were used on the times of the temple. On the very top, we have what Eliezer calls the most beautiful and most complicated bread to accomplish, the lechem hapanim. And then on to the right, we have the shtei halechem, and underneath, we have different breads for the Todah offering. And the ones on the left bottom, the one that looks like a little burn, it's also the type of bread that is used, what they call the Habitin bread. It's the offering of the Kohen Gadol daily on the service of the temple. So we were very, very amazed to be able to be watching all these breads coming to life on these modern times. It's amazing. And then after that, the next day, we went in the morning to interview Zev Labler, is the gentleman here that is talking with me on the picture. And we can see the stone, one of the stones he already cut. He and another friend of his, his friend is a Cohen, he was telling me. And it's a very knowledgeable individual that invested time of his education. His friend that is a Cohen, he went to Europe and learned from different Mason academies about working with stones. So they both work on this stone, and obviously they're under the supervision of different rabbis, and some of the rabbis Joe is friend with, like Rabbi Makover, Rabbi Parsov, he also told me that Rabbi Azaria and Professor Sohar Amar are part of the board that oversee everything that they do. So this is the stone that they have. It's a cornerstone. It has this beautiful decoration in two sides, and I sent them some emails, and then when the day came, I started sending him in the morning. I'm like, Seb, I need an address and an hour to meet because I have another interview in the afternoon. And he wasn't answering me, so we were waiting for like an hour, and he finally sent me his WhatsApp, and he said, Edgar, I'll see you in this address at this time. So we got our equipment and ran to this place in the south area of Samaria, in the biblical land. And so this is a video that another group did with interview with him. I just want to play a little bit so people can relate to it. It's on YouTube in the Homebound to Eretz Israel channel, and it's called Stones of Glory.
Dear Acorns, I was 19 when I got pregnant.
Get over
I worked
this.
3 jobs at once to keep us afloat.
My name is Zeev Leibler. I'm married to Reut. We have 4 beautiful children. We live in the Samaria, in a small yishuv. When I was a teenager, I went out of the way of Judaism for a few nice years. After the army, I met Rabbi Nachman in Breslev. His way of looking at the Judaism and Torah, and since then I consider myself Talmid of Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Nachman speaks a lot about thinking in a very utopic way of living the life in a spiritual way. So from inside I was very connected to Geula and Mashiach. Hashem brought me to this place, which it's for the last 3 years or so, a part of me every day of my life. This is what I'm thinking about and trying to move on with this project of the making stones of Beis HaMikdash, which I'll tell you.
Very good.
Let me
So
get
when I got married about 12 years ago,
let me get a little ahead and
and got a master to be a master, and he joined us. We found we went to look for a stone where we can take out a stone from the mountain. Then we found a beautiful. It took us a very ask them to join them. So this is actually what we were trying to do with the first stone, to show Am Israel, which we actually have the ability to make huge stones that are actually can be a real stone for Beis HaMikdash, not just an idea of small stone, or that's also nice to make small stones like let's try, but actually a huge.
so yeah, I just wanted to show you a little bit of what we
stone.
talked to him, and I made this little video with the drone that we had just to show the stone. We even grabbed some of the little stones on the floor just to bring some with us. But he also told us, Edgar, I want to show you something else. And I say, what you got? He said, this place where we found this stone is a very special place because it is a place where King Solomon, the first temple, they used to get the stones for the temple. So it's a place that we're using, and you cannot tell anybody where this place is, because we want to keep it for the purpose of getting the stones for the temple. He said, but we found nearby another area where we found this stone that when we cut it, it was very beautiful, very at the shape and the appearance. He says like fossilized stone. And when we cut it with all these fossils, we talked to the rabbis, and they're considering that these stones can be used for the floor of the temple. He says, so if you want to take some pictures, so we took some pictures of these stones that they have over there. They're like 2 inches on the thickness, probably 18 or 19 inches on the length, and maybe 14 on the width. But they're very beautiful stones, and they're thinking that they can use it for the floor of the temple because they're very, very pretty. And after that, we went to our next interview. We met with Benayahu. He's the one that is building these beautiful doors for the Holy Temple. And this door, I told him if he will allow us to see these doors. And he said, Edgar, because of the winter, I put them away because the rain and they're very big. So, but I can send you pictures and we can do the interview. And I said, yeah, that would be fine. So we went to his shop, and he had different temple models that he's working on. And since he's a carpenter and I'm a carpenter, so we had a good connection. At the beginning, Benayahu was very reluctant to give me the interview because he was asking, who am I, and if I'm Jewish, or what kind of faith am I professing, and who is behind this documentary? Is it being financed by non-Jewish groups, and all these questions, because people are being interviewed on the past years through the war by different news places and different people and different documentaries, and they've been twisting the information. So people don't want to give interviews any longer. And so I told him that we are a team of researchers about the Holy Temple, and we're learning, and we want to put all this information together for the world to know it. And he finally agreed to interview him. So he was very kind and allowed us to come to his shop, and we filmed part of this door that he has on the left picture, the arch on top, and he showed us the other models. And this is one of the doors he's working on. He said we're gonna put it all together. All this is cedar from Lebanon, and we're building the panels, and we're gonna sand it and clean it, put it together, and dress it with gold leaf. And I can just imagine how beautiful these doors are gonna be when they finish it.
And, by the way, these doors are the size that are recorded in the Mishnah. They're using the 5 handbreadths cubit, and you can see that the doors are gigantic in size. Okay.
And these boys that are helping, they're making all these stars for the paneling, and it's very interesting that they involve the little boys and girls to put together these projects. He gave me these pictures also about the making of these panels, and it's very impressive work that they're doing about the Holy Temple. After we finished the interview, like the next day, well, let me tell you, before we finished the interview, before we left the place of his shop, we went to another room where he allowed us to use the bathroom, drink some water, and he said, Edgar, sit down. I want to ask you something. He said, when you think this documentary will be finished? I'm like, I don't know. We're just beginning and we have a lot of work to do. He said, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I was just wondering. He said, I'm thinking that when all this work be finished and people start seeing it, he said, I can almost see the Christian people. Some of them will be like whatever, blah, blah, blah. We are the temple of God. And other Christians that agree with the building of the temple, they say, yeah, this is very interesting. He say, on the Jewish world, it will be something similar. A lot of people think that I'm a dreamer, that I'm somebody that is dreaming about the building of the temple. That's never going to happen. He said, but there is a lot of people that believe that because it's a commandment, it has to happen. And it's on the Bible, it will happen. He says, so some Jewish people will be like Christians, some like, never is going to happen. Others, yes, it's going to happen. And then he opened his eyes and smiled. He said, Edgar, but within the Muslim community, when they see this documentary and they start seeing that there is somebody building stones, other the breads, other the doors, others the incense, he say they're gonna enter into a panic mode, because one of the things that they hate is that their efforts are not accomplishing anything. We are still moving, observing the commandments, and the temple is going to be built. He said, Edgar, do you realize something? Right now, the IDF is fighting in Gaza, and they're defending the state of Israel with bullets. He said, what you and I are doing, we're fighting a war without bullets, because we are making the enemy to be afraid just by obeying the commandments. He said, and I'm shocked that you guys are not Jewish and you're investing the time and the money to come over from the other side of the world to find the people that are involved on the building of temple. He said, and that is something that deserves a lot of respect. And I want to thank you, because I can only imagine the significant importance that this will be for the Jewish people once it is finished. So that was very, very nice for him to tell us. And next morning when I woke up, I had this message from him on WhatsApp. He said, Dear Edgar, our meeting yesterday moved me deeply. I truly did not know that people like you exist. People who love God, cherish Torah, and hold the mitzvot so close to their hearts. I spoke with a friend of mine, Yair Yehuda, who is knowledgeable in this area. He explained to me that the world is undergoing significant shifts and that this is actually a broad and growing phenomenon. People of goodwill who are not from the people of Israel are taking an interest and seeking to support the Jewish people, whether in building the temple or, in my case, preparing for its future reconstruction. I understand more and more how important our meeting yesterday was and the filming of this film. I would love to meet you again, not for photos, but to get to know you better and to understand how we can collaborate to advance the work in honor of the temple together. For my house will be called a house of prayer for all peoples. So that was very nice of him to at the beginning, he didn't want to give us an interview. And at the end, he's like, I didn't know people like you that are not Jewish, but love the Torah, love the land, love the Jewish people, love the commandments, and are doing this for other people to know about the Holy Temple.
But it's amazing.
Yes, that was very, very enlightening for what we were doing. But days were going so fast. We'll get in with the cameras and get into the car and start driving to these places and get to the hotel, get to Jerusalem and get the car into the parking lot of the hotel and go and change clothes or take a shower or whatever. And then sometimes not even that, just go straight to get something to eat, come back and sleep. Next morning, get ready for the first interview. So it was 2 weeks that they went very fast, and it was very active day by day. I didn't even have time to go places that I really wanted to see for research. I didn't even get to go to the city of David, which I wanted it. And I wanted to do one of the interviews about the music over there, but because other issues, we have to put together the 2 last interviews in one place, so we didn't lose to do the interviews at the end of the 2 weeks. So it was an amazing time. So our next day, Professor Sohar Amar, he's a very well-known researcher. Everybody talks about him. I mean, Eliezer Seidel, he said that Professor Sohar helped him to find the ingredients or details about baking the bread. And then Benayahu told us that Professor Sohar Amar gave him guidance for finding the right wood for these doors. And Professor Sohar Amar also is the one that did the incineration of the cow a few years back. And he also was involved in this last practice. And he's also a researcher for many things. For the in this case, I interviewed him for the ingredients of the ketoret, of the incense, and he also working on the stones of the breastplate and the colors, the dyes, and all these things. So even though I had some emails exchanged with him before we did the trip, he said, Edgar, I don't want to compromise to a date in particular, but just when you get here, we'll talk about it and we get together. And I said, all right. So after our middle of the first week, my next week was already filling up, and he still hasn't given me a date, just like many other of the rabbis. So I'm like, I don't want everybody at the same day say, come over this day, and not being able to do it. So I started pressing a little bit, and I don't know if because I press him, Professor Sohar Amar, he's like, Edgar, I don't think I'll be able to meet with you, but I'm gonna send you with my assistant, and he's good. He's gonna help you. And I say, all right, that's fine. So when I get with his assistant, that I already had WhatsApps with him before, because he's the one that gave me Professor Sohar Amar's email to begin with. His name is Elron. He's a doctor in Bar Ilan University as well. And I say, Elron, Professor Sohar Amar says that you're going to help me. So I only have these dates. What we're going to do? He said, I don't know if I can get to those dates because they just called me to the Army reserves. And I don't know what to tell you. And I said, that's fine. If you cannot, don't worry about it. So Eliezer from the bakery, he sent me a WhatsApp one of those nights, and he said, Edgar, how's everything going? I said, well, it seems like I'm going to lose the interview with Professor Sohar Amar about the ketoret, and his assistant, Ron, he's also a little bit busy because he's called to the reserves. He say, you want me to send Professor Amar an email? I say, I don't want to bother him. Maybe in another occasion we can do the interview. He said, let me send the email. If he says not, at least we try it. And I said, all right. So I think that was in the morning. That afternoon, when we got to the hotel, I looked into my phone, and it was an email from Professor Amar. He said, Edgar, I'll see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow in my house. Here is the address. So I'm like, all right. So I told the girls, we got to get ready in the morning to the house of Professor Sohar Amar in the territories of Benjamin. It's like 40 minutes from Jerusalem, so we got to be there on time. And so we went and interviewed Professor Sohar. Let me just read a little bit of his his curriculum. He's a lecturer in the Department of Land of Israel Studies and Archaeology at Bar Ilan University. Professor Sohar Amar deals with multidisciplinary research in natural history and Jewish sources, and in the light of classical sources and Arabic literature. He specializes in the identification of plants and animals in the Bible, in the literature of the rabbinic sages and the Middle Ages, especially the writings of Maimonides. The studies cover a wide range of subjects, including the history of medicine and ethnopharmacology in traditional societies, material culture, and daily life in the ancient world. Among his most prominent studies in recent years are documents from the Cairo Geniza as a source of knowledge of practical medicine in the Middle East in the Middle Ages, the re-identification of biblical plants traditional agriculture crops, ancient paper, ancient textiles, and the study of ancient dyes. The discovery of the Kermes oak insect as a source of dye, gemstones, incense, and spices, the return of the balsamum, the balsam, to the land of Israel, traditional healing herbs used by the Jewish of Yemen and Ethiopia, and a documentation of kashrut traditions of kosher animals on Jewish communities. To date, more than 250 scientific articles have been published in Israel and abroad, and 30 books and pamphlets containing ancient medical manuscripts here therefore unpublished. So there was more about what he does, and it's no wonder why he's been asked to help the Temple Institute and the Lechem Hapanim Institute, the doors of the temple, I'm sure that the stones of the temple. So we came into his house that morning, and he very kindly welcomed us in, and he had some dates, cookies, water. He's like, "Can I offer you some tea, some coffee?" And we're like, no, we're fine. Thank you so much. And we're going to set up. And he said, "All right, get ready." And so I'm going to play this little clip.
I make it first after the cup. Yes, I make excellent. We found Torah here in Israel about 20 years ago. מהחושך. About the organization of about 5-6 years. About the 10 חלק בהקמה הגדולה שלי and כתובת and
So he was telling us about all the things that he'd been researching and the book he wrote. And after that, we set up on his office to do the interview. And he also had some of the ingredients of the ketoret on his table for us to take a look at it and smell the fragrances and touch the different ingredients. So it was very enlightening to be able to be with him. And so I thought I had other clips about the interview with me in the presentation, but we're gonna go to Rabbi Glick after this one. I don't know if you want to comment anything, or we'll just keep on going.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I'm beginning to wonder about in doing all these interviews, which did you find the most interesting? I have an idea that whoever you talk to at the moment, that's the most interesting until you go to the next one, and that's the most interesting. But if you had to choose one, you couldn't, because they're each amazing.
Yeah. My wife was asking me the same when we were there and going through all these personalities and recording. We don't even have time to meditate on it too much, because getting ready for the next one and have the right questions and be there at the right moment and make sure that the equipment is ready. And one of those days, the car didn't want to start. It was dead. So we're like, what's happening? We have to be on this appointment. And it's like a one hour or hour and a half, I forgot. So I'm like getting desperate on the parking lot. And these guys from the hotel walk into the parking lot. And I'm like, "Hey, I need some help here." And they're like, "Your battery is dead. Call the company. They gotta bring you another car right now." So I called the company and they say, come on over, we'll get you another card. And I'm like, I'm gonna lose 1 hour at least and all this. But I was like, all right, let's do it. So I called the interviewer and I say, interviewee, and I say, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be a few minutes late. We have some problems with the car. And he said, don't worry about it. Just take your time and get here whenever you're ready. We'll be here. So one of those details. But yeah, my wife was telling me which of the interviewees has taught you differently. I'm like, it's hard to tell because each one is working so hard on what they're
Yep.
doing. And my niece, Alina, she reads the Bible and is a believer, but she doesn't know anything about the temple, Jewish people, the land of Israel. I will ask her, what do you think of what you're presentiating yourself being here with us? And she's like, I'm in shock. I never thought that I'd be doing something like that on my career. And she say, everyone, like you just mentioned, everyone that we go from one to the other is different. And she said, but one thing they have in common, that they want the well-being of the Jewish people, and they're working for the Holy Temple to be built.
You know, the paper that you just put up just a moment ago talked about the discovery of some type of a worm. Yeah, do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the one they use for the dye of the color, I think the red color, right?
Yeah, okay, let me tell you the story of it. Because this goes back to 1990. Okay. So a lot of people watching this video weren't even born when that happened. That was when I had my first trip to Israel. And my first tour I led to Israel wasn't my first trip, but we didn't know Rabbi Richmond at the time. Now we became good friends and actually toured together, spoke together numbers of times. But he was telling the day that we visited the Temple Institute about that they did not know for sure where the colors Techelet, okay, the blue, and the Argamine, the purple, and the Shani Tolat came from. Okay, so they had pretty much figured out that it came from a specific shell, okay, a seashell, and like a conch shell. And a part of the way that they found this out is that they found where they were making the dye, and all these seashells had a hole in these seashells went back 2,000 years, and they had a little hole at the same spot. So they got some of those, they pulled them out, and made a blue dye. Okay, but in the Talmud, it says that this was a migratory sea creature, and that it would wash up on the shores of Israel every 70 years. Okay, the day that my mother and I visited the Temple Institute, Rabbi Richmond is telling this story, and in the Jerusalem Post that day, he took it out, he read it, that this same shell was washing up on the shores of Israel in great quantities, and this had not occurred for the last 70 years. Well, from that, they were able to discover the Argamine, the purple. It was made from the same thing, but they discovered it. The Shani Tolat, the red, the crimson. They discovered that it came from an insect, like a locust, but it was like a worm that left a shell. And it wasn't, they thought, no longer existent in Israel. And so Rabbi Machover's father journeyed to Lebanon, it's before Hezbollah days, and bought several drumfuls of these shells, and they brought them back and made the first Shani Tolat. There was a professor, and I did not know who it was till today. There was a professor that discovered this same worm on a tree, on a mountain that was covered with these trees in Judea, Samaria. And so that's exactly what you just presented. And
Yes.
but you know, I can go back 30 years of these discoveries, and we see them unfolding even today, and even more so. It's exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah, when I sent them the email that Elron, his assistant, gave me, Professor Soharamar email, I sent an email and I say, Professor, I'm developing this documentary. I would love for you to help us if we can interview you about the Ketoret. And he said, yeah, for sure. Right now I'm in Cambodia because I'm researching some barks of this tree that we believe is part of the Ketoret. So he said, but by the time you're in Israel, I'll be back too, and we'll get together. And I said, all right, thank you so
Wow.
much. So these people are going all over the world, finding
yeah.
all these things and
Yeah.
putting it together. So I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint. So our next interview was with Rabbi Yehuda Glick. I wanted to interview him about what they call the so-called status quo of the Temple Mount. And he was a very, let me just read a little bit about him. Rabbi Yehuda Glick, I mean, everybody knows him. Yehuda Glick, born on 20th November 1965, American Orthodox Jewish Israeli rabbi and politician, described as a right-wing or far-right activist. He's also the president of the Shalom Yerushalayim Foundation. He campaigns for expanding Jewish access to the Temple Mount. He was a member of the Knesset for the Likud party, having taken the place of former Defense Minister Moshe Ya'alon on May 2016 to April 2019. Rabbi Glick is the leader of Chaliva, a coalition of groups dedicated to reaching complete and comprehensive freedom and civil rights for the Jews on the Temple Mount. Rabbi Glick was awarded with the 2015 Moskowitz Prize for Zionism for being active for human rights and religious freedom on Jerusalem's Temple Mount. In 29th of October 2014, Rabbi Glick survived an attempt of assassination by Mutaz Hassi, member of Palestinian Islamic Jihad. And so we went and we called him. Our idea was going to be interviewing Rabbi Glick around the gates of the Temple Mount, but because he's been banned from the Temple Mount for like 6 months, and he was preparing all these presents for the foundation. He proceeds helping the widows and orphans in Jerusalem and on all Israel as well. He said, Edgar, I don't think I'll be able to come to the old city this week. I'm very busy putting all these boxes together for the orphans. But you're welcome to come to my office and we can do the interview here. And I'm like, yeah, we're ready if you're ready. So we came over and he gave us candy, chocolates, and coffee. And so we did the interview. It was very, very nice. And he spoke very moving about the importance of the Temple Mount. And at the end, we got together singing some traditional Jewish songs. So it was a very pleasant interview with Rabbi Glick that day. And I don't think I have some recordings of what we share, what he shared with us that day, but I just want to show some pictures.
He's a bundle of energy.
He is.
I mean, he is, and the only person I know that exceeds him in that energy is his wife.
He was very concerned when I said, Rabbi, he said, I'm sorry that I weren't able to meet you in the Temple Mount, but they banned me for 6 months. Can you believe that? I'm like, yeah, that's sad. He said, yeah, very sad, because that's what I've been fighting for all my life, and they keep on banning me. But like you say, he has the energy and the attitude and the blessings from above to do it. And what he has accomplishing
Yes.
through all these decades is amazing.
Yes.
And I don't know if Macarena wants to say something about what she appreciated that day when we were with Rabbi Glick's. She said she was gonna be working from home, so I don't know if she's available.
Shalom.
Macarena, shalom.
Hi.
What was your experience with Rabbi Glick?
I mean, I was impressed by his energy and his enthusiasm. I didn't know who he was, and all this situation that you explained me that everyone knows him there. So I was surprised by him, like he cannot go to the Temple Mount at this moment. And also when he was giving the interview, he also mentioned um the thing that I mentioned yesterday, that is not just like a Jewish temple, is house of prayer for all the nations. So that really like made me feel more part of it, and it was beautiful. And also the work he's doing for the orphans and the widows, it was really like beautiful. And all the box gift that he explained us and all that work, it was beautiful, and so nice to be there to witness that.
Yeah, Baruch Hashem. And since you're here, when Joe was asking about the impression of any of the people we interview, is there anything you want to share about what impressed you from most of them?
So yes, as I was saying yesterday, I think it's really hard to, for example, to decide what was my favorite interview, because each one of the interviews had something really, really special. What was my favorite interview?
Sorry.
I don't know. I think what really makes me feel like the he was not the only one who mentioned this, that is house of prayer for all the nations. More than one interview mentioned that, and it was really, really nice, as I tell, to feel part of that, and it was really honor and blessing to be able to witness all of those interviews. I was saying, Edgar, I don't know how you are going to edit all these interviews, because each second, each minute, everything that they are saying is so deep and so beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Macarena. Yeah, she's like, what areas are you guys gonna take from each interview for the documentary at the end? And she said, obviously, you cannot put the whole thing. We have like an hour from each interview, and it's a tough work to do. Our next interview was with Rabbi Mordechai Persov. Rabbi Persov, he is the director of the Midrasha, and he's been working at this institute since 1995. In the picture above his picture is Hamidrasha Leyada Hamikdash. I think it translates like the school of understanding of the Beit Hamikdash. And Mordechai Persov is certified as a rabbi and holds a degree in education. And I took this from their site. The Midrasha for the Knowledge of the Temple is a registered educational association that has been working for about 30 years to promote the knowledge and awareness of the temple amongst the people of Israel. During the year, the Midrasha meets about 600,000 participants from
60,000.
kindergarten. 600,000 participants,
Yeah.
kindergarten, children's, students, communities, youth, and high school, adults, and activities adapted to the elderly in a wide and tailored range of educational activities in various sectors and in diverse age groups. In addition, the Midrasha produces educational aids on the subject of the temple, like booklets, books, videos, wooden models, etc. The Midrashah is recognized as the Center for Jewish Consciousness, organized by the Eshkolot organization, and it is supervised by the Jewish Culture Division of the Ministry of Education. So Rabbi Persov was telling us about all the work that they're doing every day, every week, through all the land of Israel, bringing the understanding and the importance of the temple into different schools, different communities, different groups of people of different ages. And he had a paper on his desk about what they were publishing that week. They had a new necklace and a new pin about the facade of the temple that we already showed in the first slide. And he was explaining us about this work he's doing. Let me see it. The audio is not too good, but let me see if I can.
Make sure mainly Israelis or people, Jews, but also for the world, so people will understand what Beit HaMikdash is, what the temple is. Okay, so some organizations maybe are like more active in like building the temple itself, but we believe that people understand what.
So that's just a little clip of what we did on the interview.
Here's the pin.
And here is Alina taking some shots of the pin and the necklace and other things that he had on his desk. So he was also asking, when are you coming to the land? And I say, soon, soon.
You talking about me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the main rabbis that we work with. And so a lot of the people that you've already shown, we're familiar with. There's some that we're not, but that we work with. And one of the things that I think is, coming out that people need to understand is these people aren't part of one central organization. They're each represents a different organization, but they're all kind of intermersed. They're meshed together. Okay, so it's kind of amazing to see how God is touching each of these people, and then from an individual person comes a group, and then different craftsmen, different scholars, different specialties, and they're all working towards that one big thing to see the Holy Temple being rebuilt.
Amen. Our next interview was with Rabbi Baruch Kahana, and when I reached out to Rabbi Kahana, I didn't expect that he will answer my message, but Rabbi Glick told me, give it a shot. I haven't talked to him for a while, but he may answer you. So I send him a WhatsApp and I say, Rabbi, my name is Edgar Ramos. I'm working on this documentary about the Holy Temple. It won't be a complete documentary about the temple without your participation. And since people know you all over the world by your work with the Temple Institute, and we will be honored to be able to meet with you. And so I sent the WhatsApp and I went to bed. And on the morning, he answered and he said, Edgar, I'll be glad to help you. And not only that, but I will take you to the practicing altar that we have outside of Jerusalem in a place that is called Mishpe Jericho. And I'm like opening my eyes and I'm like, oh, Baruch Hashem. He answered. So we were very, very excited about this interview. And so when we got to, this was like prior to the interview itself. So we agreed to interview him on a Monday. I think it was December the 1st. And so on the Sunday night, I sent them a WhatsApp and I say, Rabbi, tomorrow we come, where we're gonna be seeing you. Are we gonna meet you at the place of Miss Jericho, or what do you want us to do? And he say, Edgar, come and pick me up at my house in the morning. I think he say 9 o'clock, and he say, and I'll come with you. And I say, somebody else is coming with you, Rabbi, just so we know what size of vehicle we needed, or take another taxi for the girls or something. And he said, no, it will be just me. And I say, Rabbi, are you going to be able to bring the garments of the kahuna? And he said, yeah, I already have them ready on my backpack. And I said, all right, thank you so much. So that night, most of the nights I will, for some reason, wake up like 2 or 3 in the morning and meditate on the next day. So that night, on the Sunday night, for the morning of the Monday, I woke up and I was thinking on the interview and what kind of questions I will be asking him, and what his personality will be, and will he be able to be an open or being very quiet person. I don't know. I was just thinking in all these details, and suddenly I perceived myself with my hands sweating about thinking on the interview. So just decided to keep sleeping and be ready in the morning, put my alarm to wake up on time. And so we went to the address he told us, and I sent them a WhatsApp. So, Rabbi, we're here across the street and in front of the school. So he came over and he greeted us outside of the car, and I got out of the car, and he said, can I put this backpack and these other bags on the trunk? And I said, yeah, for sure. And he said on the front of the car. So I told my niece, can you record even when he's with us on the car? And she said, yeah, if we allow us to, we'll do it. So here we were in the car driving towards Mispe Jericho, and he's a very, very humble individual, very, very knowledgeable, very humble, very nice, very educated. And here is some pictures that I took from online. Rabbi Kahana on the Temple Institute. He is an instructor of the Kohanim, and we can see on the picture on the right, Rabbi Israel Ariel. He's the founder of the Temple Institute with the microphone, and they're doing practicing of the pouring of the water on Sukkot, on the southwestern corner of the altar, on this representation. And so for us, it was a very, very interesting and very important interview, because Rabbi Kahana, he is the one of the main instructors of the Kohanim, and he's also on this generation. If the temple was going to be built, he is the main candidate to be the Kohen Gadol. So he took us to this place where they have this practicing altar, and inside the altar is like this little room where they have plans of the temple, and they have different utensils to teach the young Kohanim about the service of the altar. They also had this altar of incense that they can practice. He was showing us a few of the works of the Kohanim with the holding the birds, or in this case the ketoret, how to place the ketoret on the altar. And my wife took up this picture so we can show the dimensions of the altar. He said that the altar is being built on its length, just like the altar should be built on the temple. So the Kohanim have a sense of ascending the ramp and the dimensions of pouring the blood on the corners and all those details, walking around the Sovev. And so it was a very, very enlightening experience to be there with the Rabbi Kahana. And he said that the place where this altar is owned by a group of Haredim. And he said that different Orthodox groups are getting very involved on learning about the Holy Temple. He says, so they allow us to build this structure here so we can practice and instruct the Kohanim about the altar.
Edgar, in this picture, so that people understand, you see the fence up above Edgar's head. That's not the top of the altar. What you see down here at the bottom coming up to his knee, that's the yesod, that's the foundation. And then up above is the walkway around the altar, that's the saviv. Okay, and the altar goes on up above that. And so it's much higher than what people imagine.
Yeah. In this picture, we can see like half of it.
Yes, like half of it. Yeah.
But in other videos that we have and pictures, we can show the whole thing. And they made the ramp to attach to the altar on a length wise, just to have the right height. But the altar itself is not built exactly like it should be, because it will be huge.
Oh yeah, gigantic.
So that was our interview with Rabbi Kahana. And the next interview was also not easy to get. Almost when we were ready to go to Jerusalem, we had the tickets. I thought it won't be a complete documentary if we don't have one of the main individuals. In this case, Rabbi Israel Ariel, the founder of the Temple Institute. So I didn't think he will agree for us to interview him because he's very busy. And he's also of his age, he's old. And I wasn't sure he would want to or he could. So I sent an email to the Temple Institute and saying that we're working on this project. And they start asking me who we were, what was the purpose, in which idiom was going to be done, and all these questions. And I answered everything they were asking me. And I say, by the way, we already have interviews with Rabbi Kahana and with Rabbi Glick and Professor Sohar Amar. So that gave me a little bit of help. So the girl in charge, she answered me and she say, all right, let me ask you a few more questions about the cut of your interview. It will be like certain political themes on it, religious themes, and so I answered what she was asking me. And so the next day she said, all right, this is what I got for you. Unfortunately, Rabbi Israel Ariel will not be able to give you the interview. So he said to please excuse him. He will not be available. But he said that he will send his son, Rabbi Azariah Ariel, to do the interview. And that the questions that you had for Rabbi Israel Ariel about the founding of the Temple Institute, Rabbi Azariah will be able to answer you. And I said, yeah, well, that would be great. So that's what we did. We did the interview with Rabbi Azariah Ariel, and we were very grateful for he to be able to meet with us at the Temple Institute. And Rabbi Azariah Ariel, he's the son of Rabbi Israel Ariel. And Rabbi Israel Ariel, he's the founder of the Temple Institute in Jerusalem. And Rabbi Azariah, he's also the head of the Mechon HaMikdash Kollel. It's like the school, training school of the Temple Institute. And Rabbi Azariah is also the leading expert regarding the red heifer halakha. And he also wrote a thick book about the red heifer. And also Joe is friend with Rabbi Israel Ariel, Rabbi Richmond, and he's very close to this institution since the beginning of its foundation. And so here we have a picture of Rabbi Azariah. When we got to the Temple Institute, they had a set of chairs set for us in front of this model. And I told them that I wasn't planning for me to be on the documentary. So we're just filming the people that we're interviewing. and so we removed the chairs and we asked the rabbi if he will be okay with him if we interview him standing or walking around these models, and he said, yeah, that should be good. So he gave us all the answers on Hebrew. He don't speak much English, and one of the ladies at the Temple Institute, her name is Rafaela, she was translating for us. So our main interview with Rabbi Azaria was about the importance of the work of the Temple Institute through all these decades on the holy city of Jerusalem and the impact of the work of the Temple Institute amongst the community through all these decades. And so that's some of the questions we had for Rabbi Israel Ariel. And then we had another set of questions regarding the red heifer and the location of the altar for Rabbi Azaria. And he kindly answered all our questions, which we have on the memories and the cameras, and we still have to work on all this information. And so here's another picture that I found online, Rabbi Azaria with the white kippah, Rabbi Richmond, and Rabbi Israel Ariel. And this may be one of the heifers that you were able to meet, Joe.
Possibly so. Yeah, very possible.
So that was our meeting with Rabbi Azaria Ariel. Here I just have like a little clip. I'm presenting him for the interview. How he perceives the unity of the Jewish people and the desire of the people on Israel to build the Holy Temple. But this is just like a little clip that my wife took.
Yeah, let me mention that in the documentary, the volume will be there. There weren't microphones.
Yeah.
Okay. And so here you're getting what you have from a cell phone. And so this is just kind of give you an insight and a taste.
Yeah, an insight and a taste of what we did with each interview. And here we have this gentleman. His name is Moshe Asiad. He is a student of Rabbi Makover, and I got his information from Rabbi Makover's YouTube channel. And Rabbi Makover was commenting to Moshe Asiad about his model and what Moshe uses his model to teach all kinds of people, also like Rabbi Persov. Moshe travels with his model, teaches little kids or communities all over Israel. And he has his like a album of different pictures and drawings of the Temple Mount. So he can describe people about Tractate Midot and Tractate Tamid. So I reach out to him and I say, Moshe, will be all right for us to interview you with your model? And he said, yeah, for sure. But I don't speak English, a little bit, but not much. Maybe you can bring somebody to translate. And I'm like, yeah, I will try to. But when the time came, we weren't sure when we were going to interview him, and we just showed up to his house without somebody that was able to translate for us. So we managed with him, with his little bit of English that he speaks, and signals and translating with the phone, he was able to give us a presentation with his model, which is very impressive. It can be taken apart, every area, and show people about Tractate Midot. And so it was a very, very nice evening that we had at his house, and we met his wife and I think one of his sons. And we can see in these pictures how you can remove the facade of the of the temple building, and then you have the holy place underneath and the Holy of Holies, a little Ark of the Covenant, the altar of incense, and the table of the showbread, and all those little details that he can show to the people. Here he is showing to some little kids about the Holy Temple. And so we had a very nice time with him. It is a little video. He's explaining something about the altar. And here I took a picture with him, and he has his whiteboard where he was explaining all kinds of things. And so I was telling Joe that he even sent me this picture. He say, across the street from the hotel that you were staying, they found what is called the Beit Hadeshen, the deposit of the ashes of the Holy Temple. And it's this picture from, I don't know, 1800s or something like that. And next morning, after we did the interview with him, I woke up in the morning, I had these WhatsApps from Moshe. He said, Edgar, on my way to work, I decided to go by to the place so I can send you a video and some drawings of the location right now where they found the ashes for the Beit Hadeshen. So I answered him, Moshe, you don't have to do that. It's very kind of you to help me in this way. So I learned about this place that we've been looking on the research group with Moreh Joseph Good for some years. And I called Joe and I say, Moshe told me about this place. He said, excellent. That's good information to have. So I wanted to put it here just so people know that besides interviewing people, we got feedback from them.
Good.
And then our next interview was with Rabbi Yashua Wonder. Yash Wonder, or Rabbi Yasha Wonder, he's an American rabbi, and he's also the international spokesman for the Israeli Search and Rescue Agency. It's called Saka. He was also a Republican nominee for mayor of Pittsburgh in 2013 general election. He was also featured in a segment of the reality television show Doomsday Preppers. He's also public relations consultant representing projects in and around the old city of Jerusalem. He recreated the Hatzorot, bringing them back into existence after 2,000 years hiatus. And he is also a veteran of the IDF. And right now he's in Australia helping the families and the people that suffered the terrible attack. And so Rabbi Yash Wonder is being also invested as a spokesman for the Sanhedrin. So when I reached out to him and I said, Rabbi, can we interview you about the silver trumpets and also about your leadership with the Sanhedrin? And he said, yeah, that would be great. Come on over. And he's also leading organization that he made. It's called Aliyah Now. So he travels all over the world and encouraging the Jewish people to come back to the land of Israel. So these are some pictures that I found of him online. And here is the silver trumpets that they did. He told me that they've been taking these trumpets, the soldiers on the IDF, and they've been sounding the trumpets just like the scripture says in Gaza and in the border with Lebanon and with Syria. The soldiers been using the silver trumpets when they're going to war. And here they had this video online where Rabbi Yash Wonder is with some members of the Sanhedrin walking on the Temple Mount. And they had this video that Rabbi Eliyahu Berkowitz did an interview about the Sanhedrin. I'm going to put a little bit of it.
Hi, folks. This is Adam Elio Berkowitz. I'm here with my dear friend Josh Wander. Josh told me about an amazing story last week. And it's so huge that I wanted to make sure I had everything correct, which is not always the case, unfortunately, before I published a video or a story about this, because it is that important. It is a massive step in the redemption process. It is a massive step marking I think a mile marker for the nation of Israel. So Josh, I'd much prefer you introduce the subject so that I don't make any mistakes or misspeaks.
And they're talking about the Sanhedrin. I'm gonna go a little forward.
Jewish courts do not have any teeth. They have no enforcement body. So often, if you're talking about in general Jewish courts around the world, then what almost always happens is before a case is accepted in a Jewish court, both sides are required to sign an arbitration agreement. And that arbitration agreement, should one of the sides decide after the ruling that they're not going to accept the ruling or not going to follow through with the ruling, then usually the Jewish court gives permission to take that arbitration agreement to a secular court, a civil court, and then that is enforced by the civil courts.
And there is a Sanhedrin in Jerusalem?
So I was speaking to a Jewish group from America this past week, and they were surprised at my statement that I mentioned the Sanhedrin, and they asked that same question, and their follow-up question was...
But you can see the video online. It's called "The Sanhedrin Calls on Exiled Jews. Come home now." And we interview Rabbi Wander about the importance of the Sanhedrin, and he was telling us about how important it is to have the Sanhedrin and how problematic was at the beginning of the state of Israel to establish the rabbinates. It should have been established the Sanhedrin more than the rabbinates, but it is what it is. I guess the community wasn't ready for the Sanhedrin at that time. It's a process, and we're asking different questions about the importance of the Sanhedrin, the silver trumpets, the war, and all these changes that especially after the last year or the last Tish B'Av, when we recall the destruction of the temple, and he was telling us about how they're making this awakening, they're making this call to the Orthodox communities on the not only in Jerusalem but in Israel, about the importance of the temple, the importance of the Sanhedrin, and the importance that the Jewish communities must move forward into not seeing the observance of the commandments caged into a Judaism of the last century. It has to be alive Judaism on these modern days, and it's more than then just going to the synagogue and grab the prayer book and say the prayers. Rabbi Wander was telling us, there is no way that you can pray for the construction or the rebuilding of the temple 3 times a day and don't do nothing about it. And he says one of the saddest things amongst the Jewish community outside of the land of Israel is that every year, 3 times a year, they openly lie to the Holy One, blessed be He, saying next year on Jerusalem, knowing that they're not coming. So all this has to stop. We have to be real with our identity, with halakha, and what we pray and what we're doing. So it was a very interesting interview. And I had this note from a note that Rabbi Eliyahu Berkowitz had about the red heifers on November 10th, the ruling of the Sanhedrin court on the matter of the red heifer ashes. We sat together as one court. questions have reached the Sanhedrin regarding the red heifer's ashes, and particularly regarding the recent exercises that was conducted. We hereby announce that we completely rely on the attached announcement from the Temple Institute, and we address all Gentiles through the world with the following call. We, the Sanhedrin, whose ancestors and families stood at Mount Sinai and witnessed the revelation of the Holy One, blessed be He, to the entire world, generation after generation, we have studied the Torah that the Holy One, blessed be He, gave us. And we know that the Holy One, blessed be He, asked those who come into the world to accept upon themselves the 7 Noahide commandments. So basically, they're stating that the people of the nations, they have to respect the Sanhedrin and the sages on Jerusalem. And it was very straightforward, this note that they put on Israel 365 in November 10th. And I just wanted to share it here with you because Rabbi Yash Wander was involved with Rabbi Eliyahu Berkowitz on this note. And so our next interview is also very important, no less important than the other ones, but a little different. And this is Dr. Karl Skorecki. Dr. Karl Skorecki was born and raised in Toronto, Canada, and received his MD degree from the University of Toronto. He pursued postgraduate clinical and research training in internal medicine, nephrology, and molecular biology at the Brigham and Women's Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard. He then returned to the University of Toronto, serving as director of nephrology and professor in medicine, pediatrics, and clinical biochemistry. In January 1991, Dr. Skorecki and his family moved to Israel, subsequently joining Ramban Medical Center and the Technion Faculty of Medicine in Haifa. Between 1995 and 2005, he served as director of the nephrology department at Rambam, and until recently as director of medical and research development. He also serves as a director of the Rappaport Research Institute between 2000 and 2015, launching major novel research programs in stem cells and human genetics research, establishing the Institute's technology transfer company, and overseeing the Institute budget. Professor Skorecki is currently Dean of the Bar-Ilan University as Reali Faculty of Medicine in Safed. And he has a long list of books he has written, presentations he has given, and all his research. But I reached out to Dr. Skorecki because he found the DNA markers for the Kohanim. And this research, like many others that we've been seeing, is been going on for years, for decades. But in these last months, these last years, they found more markers. So they were working on this report, and they told me they were gonna send it to me since like March or June when I reached out to Dr. Skorecki, and it's been delaying. So when we got there, I'm like, I guess they never sent it to me, so I don't have it. And the idea was that if I read the report, I was going to be able to use the information on the report for the interview. So we got there on a Thursday, and we drove 2 hours from Jerusalem to be there 9 o'clock into the Ramban Medical Center, which is a picture that we took from the building, and we got there 9:10. We were a little late, and so his assistant, Mrs. Donna, came over and met us and took us to this office. And when we got to the office, Dr. Skorecki came over and we presented ourselves, and he said, Edgar, before we sit to do the interview, come with me. It's not a coincidence that today that you're here, I want you to meet somebody very special. He is the pioneer before myself in the research of the DNA of the Kohanim. So I'm gonna play this video. My wife is following him and I say, record this, take some pictures.
Ramos, who's doing a film in Israel in many locations. But he's going to tell me about it first, about the temple. Yeah.
I had my pin of the temple on my shirt.
In 1997, you will see this man's name on the paper in Nature. Professor Shraga Blaser. He participated.
So Professor Blaser is the pioneer before Dr. Skorecki, and Dr. Skorecki is like, it's amazing how today you came and he came to visit us too. And I want you to meet him. And I say, all right, thank you so much. And his wife, she's sitting on the desk, and Dr. Skorecki told me that his wife, Dr. Blaser's wife, is in charge of writing all the documents of the research that they do of DNA. And I say, well, she's a good friend to have, so I can get those papers myself. And they say, yeah, for sure. So this is another picture that my wife took of this moment. And I took this information from a paper they have online. Dr. Skorecki made contact with another professor. His name is Michael Hammer of the University of Arizona, leading researcher in molecular genetics and a pioneer on the Y chromosome research. Professor Hammer uses DNA analysis to study the history of populations, their origins and migrations. His previous research included work on the origins of the Native American Indians and the development of the Japanese people. A study was undertaken to test the hypothesis. If there were a common ancestor, the Kohanim should have common genetics markers at a higher frequency than the general Jewish population. In the first study, as reported in the prestigious British science journal Nature, January 2, 1997, 188 Jewish males were asked to contribute some chick cells from which the DNA was extracted for study. The result of the analysis of the Y chromosome markers of the Kohanim and non-Kohanim were indeed significant. A particular marker, YAP, was detected in 98.5% of the Kohanim and in a significantly lower percentage of non-Kohanim. And I just took some screenshots of this report. Ashkenazi and non-Ashkenazi hypothesis, Y chromosomes of historically and geographically dispersed Kohanim should be more alike than Ys of other groups and more alike than are their autosomes. Anyone can do this today and check in 100 generations. So this is a little video also.
With up to temple or biblical times, there was one man. We don't know who that man is. But how could it be that that man's descendants are alive today? Because most lineages extinguish, they undergo extinction. Most white chromosomes don't that, are alive today and still know that they're Kohanim. And one is in Morocco, and one is in Poland, and one is in the Far East. How could it be? Where did they must have come from? Where did they come from? Did they come from Alaska? Was their father in Alaska 4,000 years ago, and now one is in Morocco, and one is in Israel, and one is in Poland, and one is in India? Is that possible that the common father was in Alaska? Unlikely. Could maybe the common father was in Peru 4,000 years ago? Unlikely. In Japan? Unlikely. Where was the last time a man had sons, who then had more sons, and they could be found all over the world and say we are Jewish Kohanim? Where was that man? So testing, they come from.
So I found these other screenshots on one of the reports and about different tracing of the Y chromosome, the Jewish people and the Kohanim in this particular. And in a second study, Doctors Korecki and associates gathered more DNA samples and expanded the selection of Y chromosome markers, solidifying the hypothesis of the Cohen's common ancestor. They found that a particular array of 6 chromosomal markers was found in 97. When we went there just a few days, they already had 9 more markers. And in 97 of the 106 Cohens tested, this collection of markers has come to be known as the Cohen model haplotype, CMH, the standard genetic signature of the Jewish priestly family. The chances of these findings happening at random is greater than 1 in 10,000. And I have this other clip.
More less positive of research in Israel. Sometimes. I'm not saying that's what happened, you know. But in any case, it's taking longer. We will get it published, but we decided yesterday we decided that we're going to release the data publicly. Release it publicly. And then we'll publish it because we didn't think it was fair. People participate in the study, and not to the public to hide or withhold the data any longer. So we are publishing it. So therefore, within about 3 or 4 days, I can send you what's called a preprint of the paper.
So it was very significant when we were there. He said, Edgar, the fact that you guys came over all the way to Israel and working on this documentary about the Holy Temple and that you are interested on the DNA of the Kohanim, he said, it has inspired me because we were waiting for a publishing house for us to release the information, but because of the war, they were saying that maybe not, and wait a little more. He said, but now that you're here, it had made the decision to release the information and don't wait for any other publishing houses. We're gonna release it ourselves. And he said, and you are gonna be the first one to receive it, and then we're gonna release it to the world. He said, because you moved us, not being Jewish and doing this work, it has inspired me for me to release the information. So it was a very, very special notice to hear from Dr. Skorecki that what we were doing inspired him for him to publish the work. So I wanted to share that.
You know, Edgar, that is a prophecy of Psalm 126. And they will say among the nations, the Lord has done great things among you. Then we will say, the Lord has done great things among us. And so the fact that Hashem used you to inspire, I mean, this man is a giant among pioneers. Okay. He's very significantly had a major task given to him by Hashem, and God has brought the information through him, just as all the others that you've interviewed. And he used you to prompt him on ahead. Don't delay anymore. So, you know, that's especially significant that from this point, what happens with them is God has you linked to it.
Yeah.
Very, very important.
Yes, it was very impressive to meet him and get all the information for the documentary. And he was very kind and very nice, show us his office and his pictures. He had this picture on his hand saying, I have all these people that I made a test of the DNA on them. They are Kohanim from different parts of the world, and they all have one common ancestor. He said, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yes,
And
very much.
And our next interview was with this young man, Yair Levi. He he's been in different movies and interviews and documentaries. He was with Doron Keidar in The Mountain of the Lord on the Am Israel series. And so Doron gave me his contact number, and I said, Yair, would you be able to help us sharing about the Levi'im? So he came over and we interviewed him here where you and Debbie got married, right?
Yes, yeah, that's the place.
In the promenade. And we were gonna, the idea was to interview him ascending the steps on the city of David, talking about the pilgrimage and the songs, the Shir Hamalot, but he wasn't able to meet with us because he was called to the reserves, and then we have to wait until last day. So we extended the visit for one more day in order to interview Jair and another interview that we're gonna show after this one. And so he came over and we met with him. And we set the cameras, and I started asking him questions about the Levi'im and about the songs of the temple and the pilgrimage. And even though he is a famous singer, he does like concerts, and he shared with us about his relationship with non-Jewish people through the world and how he was shocked to see all these non-Jewish people come to his concerts and lifting their hands on the air. And he's like, who are these people? Why are they here at my concert? What they want from us? He said, but then I realized, like Macarena just mentioned, he said, I realized that the temple is not just a Jewish temple. It's a house of prayer for all nations. He says, so myself, I have to learn about this phenomenon of people getting close to the Jewish people getting involved on the building of the temple, people getting involved with the music of the temple. So he said, as a Levi, I'm very impressed by what's going on these days. And I have to share with people when I come back to Israel about what the world is being transitioned from. But it was very, very nice interview with him, and we talked about the work of the Levine, that they're on the Duhan, and one of the tasks is to join the people in the other court with the service that the Kohanim are performing in the daily basis on the Holy Temple. And it was very nice interview and the information he gave us. The audio is not very good, but he's presenting himself in this little clip, saying that we're standing at the promenade where Abraham Avinu came with Yitzhak and Eliezer and Ishmael looking to the mountain. And I just wanted to share a little bit of that clip. And our last film interview was with Mrs. Avital Farhang. She is wife of a friend. His name is Uri. And Uri helped me with some of the contacts for the interviews as well. And he's also a veteran of the IDF and works very hard bringing equipment to the soldiers on different brigades. And so one time he posted about his wife doing this dance for a Iranian family that ISIS killed a young boy in that family. So she did this special dance to send it to the family. Hopefully the mother will be comforted. So when I saw the video, I asked him, Uri, will Avital be willing to do a dance for us when we do the documentary so we can put her dance in the introduction of the documentary? And he said, let me ask her. So he asked her and she agreed, and they came over to meet with us at the same place where we're going to interview Jair. It was our last day of the 2 weeks, so we were busy until the last day. So here she was warming up a little bit before we did the filming, and it was a very special moment as well. We really enjoyed meeting Avital and Uri and filming her dancing. I just wanted to put a little clip. And I think that's it with our interviews. And I just say gracias. Thank you so much from Bisma Films in Austin, Texas, for allowing us to present all these very amazing interviews that we did. And Gabriel was mentioning yesterday, we shared with the Hispanic community. And before we do the presentation, Gabriel was saying, oftentimes it's hard to coordinate agendas of 1 or 2 or 3 people to do like a conference. He say, it's amazing how Hakadosh Baruch Hu allowed you to get all these people together for 2 weeks and being able to draw all this information for people to know.
Listen, Edgar, I'm very, very impressed. And, I saw this project building as you were preparing for it. And then I had the opportunity and the blessing to be speaking with you frequently while you were there. And you would relate to me certain things that had come up in various interviews. And also, you would ask if I had any questions to suggest for your next interview, that type of thing. I believe that this is a very significant part that people need to be aware of, that the temple does not just happen. The temple will come, but it comes as the people themselves prepare for it. Okay? One of your interviews talked about that it spoke of the people praying 3 times a day for the rebuilding of the temple and saying next year in Jerusalem, but they really didn't believe it. It's time that we need to believe. So I'd like to ask, first off, I believe that the people that saw this are going to be very excited if they would tell their friends about the video. And where they can go and they can watch this on Facebook, they can watch it on YouTube now, and that would get more and more people watching. Number 2 is, what are ways that people can help?
Well, we still have many. I mean, what we just did on Jerusalem for 2 weeks is just like a third of the project. On the first part, we want to present like different religious groups with their point of view about the rebuilding of the temple. And some people are going to say, no, we are the temple. We don't need a temple. So other people are going to be like, yes, the temple has to be built. So we want to present also archaeologists and historians about this on the first part. And then at the end, when we film Avital doing the dance, I asked Uri if he could help me to get some people from the army or from the for the Air Force, that he's very close to these people and some politicians. And he said, yeah, for sure. Just make me a list of the topics that you want to touch on the last segment, and we'll look through my contacts and we'll put it together. So I think we have to go back to the land and film all this last part. And the first part, we still have to film it here in the States with different religious groups. And so for these 2 weeks, we already use what we had in our piggy bank for equipment, for the flights, for the hotel. But I'm very certain that God has this on his hand, and I'm not worried about the finances. But every interview that we did, like the doctor, he held my hand with his 2 hands. He said, thank you for doing this, and may the Lord help you with all that you're doing. And Benayahu told me the same. And Professor Sohar, he said, Edgar, I may need help from you and your research team for some project that I have on mind. So I perceive that this was just an idea, became something bigger than what I thought. And the Lord has been providing the finances for what we did. And He for sure will provide. But every time somebody say thank you, I knew that those words are an echo for each person that had donated $20, $50, $100, $5,000. And I'm just passing what they've been telling me to all the people involved on this project. So it's a thing that we're doing together.
Yeah. Well, people that are interested in supporting anyway, okay, with our contribution, or maybe you got a group of people that one of us could go and speak to and show some more and go into some detail. Any of these things. But you can get in touch with us through Hatikva Ministries. Just anything that will work. Jerusalem Temple Study. And I'd like to do the prayer for the rebuilding of the temple, if that's okay with you. For those of you that pray with the Siddur, it's going to be found immediately after the Amidah, whether we're talking about the Amidah, the weekday Amidah, or the Shabbat and Yom Tov Amidah. In Hebrew, it goes, Shehi ratzon mefaneka, Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avatenu, Sheyi b'nei Beit HaMikdash b'himra b'yameinu v'tin hakenu v'torteka, v'sham na'avdeka b'rak yimei olam mukshanim kad moniot, ve'arba le'Adonai min ha'Yehuda ve'Yerushalayim kimei olam mukshanim kad moniot. And what it says is, may it be your will, Lord our God, and God of our ancestors, that the temple be rebuilt speedily in our days. And grant us a share in your Torah, there we will serve you with reverence as in the days of old and as in former years. Then the offering of Yehuda and Jerusalem will be pleasing to the Lord as in the days of old and as in former years. Thank you, Edgar, and it's been informative for myself, and I can see better exactly what God's doing, and the hand of God is with you and your crew.
Thank you so much, Joe, for your time, and thank you. Also, thanks to Pastor Gabriel that kindly has been helping us, and
Yes.
Macarena, she joined the team over there, and it was very significant that she decided to come with us, and she was a good friend for our camera girl. They call her the PD or picture. I always forget those terms. Maybe Macarena can help me, but yeah, so Alina won't be by herself, and they became good friends, and they will carrying the equipment back and forth into the car or walking on the streets when we had to do the interviews, carrying all this equipment. So they worked very hard for 2 weeks, and it's been an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Shalom,
Shalom, shalom.
shalom, everyone.
Shalom, shalom.